For today's watch review, we're talking about the Invicta Akula. So let's get right into it. Before we cover the watch, I just wanted to show you what to expect if you do order this one. It comes in this cardboard yellow box with that very bright Invicta yellow that we're all very familiar with. And then the case itself, or the watch box, opens up like that. You've got some microfiber cloth there, and then a little watch pillow. And I just think that's very cool for this company to do that. A lot of large name companies, they don't really put forth a lot of effort in presentation, and I know that's not a big deal, but just for the bargain price that you're buying these watches at, it's nice to know that you still get a little touch of focus on that presentation portion. So just wanted to show you that real quick. So starting off with my first talking point, how much did I pay for this? I spent about $150 before taxes, and I did buy it straight off of the Invicta website. You can go on shophq.com, I want to say, and it actually sells for a little bit more there. But realistically, you can expect to spend way less than $200 for this one. And I'm sure over time, the price will go down as they always do. This one specifically is just brand new, I want to say. So it's going to be, $150 for a little bit at least. And let's do a 360 here, so you see what you're dealing with. You do have a see-through case back, or a display case back. And there you go. I went ahead and undid the bracelet real quick just so you can get a better picture or a better view of that case back, because I do think this is the coolest thing ever. And you can see that you got the Invicta Akula logo there, automatic movement, and then it says here Tritonite. Is that Tritonite or Tritonite? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you know how to say that. It says Flame Fusion Crystal. We'll get into that, if that's anything special or not. I don't think it is. I think it's just a fancy name. And then water resistant. It says right there 330 feet, 100 meters. I don't know about that either, and we'll talk about that later as well, but there you go. All right, next let's go over dimensions. It is an Invicta, so it's no secret that it's going to be quite large. Let's see if I can do this. It's always hard to do this when I'm on camera, but with the crown, we're looking at a case diameter of about 56.3. Without the crown, let's see what that gives us. 52 millimeters. And then let's do lug to lug. This is the one I hate the most, but let's see. And lug to lug, 64.1 millimeters. And then the band width of, let's see, 19, or actually I might have done that wrong. I think I'm supposed to measure from here. Oh, even then, still around 19 millimeters. And then case thickness, about 16 millimeters. So very beefy, hefty watch. Let's go ahead and see what this weighs. So if we're doing ounces, this is gonna weigh 8 1/8 ounces, and in grams, that is 233 grams. Not the heaviest, but it's definitely not light at all. So with those dimensions in mind, let's see what it looks like on the wrist. I've got about a 7.5 inch wrist, and this is what it looks like. So it takes up all the space on your wrist. As far as functions and features, there's really not much going on here. It's got, somewhat of a complex looking dial, but it's very simple. You can see the movement, you can see the spinning rotor in the back, but that's it. There's no date window, no second hand. You can hear it, or maybe when you put it to your ear, you can just hear the movement or the complication working, but really no other moving parts other than that. And I do like that. I do like how simple it is, especially when I have to set it. All I'm setting is the minute and hour hand. There is lume on all of the indices as well as the end of the minute hand and the hour hand, but it's nothing special, which is a little frustrating because on the case back and in the features or specifications, it says that it has this thing called tritnite or tritnite or whatever you want to call it. So if it's a loom that has a special name, you think that it would be something special, right? Well, wrong. There's really nothing good about this loom. You can shine a bright light on it, put it out in the sun, and bring it back in the dark, and it'll last you all of 15 minutes before the loom is completely gone. And let me go ahead and show you what the loom looks like. It is beautiful. It's a very pleasant blue color, but it's very short-lived. So there's the loom for you. Like I said before, it's beautiful. It's a very pleasant glow, but unfortunately, it doesn't last any longer than, maybe even 15 minutes. And that's being very generous. As far as the bracelet goes, very simple, good quality. I've got no complaints there. And the clasp, you do have that milled steel clasp, which is always a good thing. At this price point, you would expect to get some kind of stamped steel, but the fact that you're getting a clasp like this is, it makes me smile. And very easy to adjust. It's not a pin and collar system. It's just a regular tension bar adjustment system, which is not, it's the cheapest way to adjust a bracelet, but it's still very easy. I will say that the bracelet is also ridiculously large, and let me explain that to you. So for me, being a larger fella, I'm around 260 pounds and I've got a 7.5-inch wrist. When I buy a new watch, I normally have to remove, 9 times out of 10, 2 links from the bracelet. With this one, I didn't have to move 2 or 3, but 4 links, and on top of that, I had to tighten up the micro adjustment. So for those of you with very large wrists, like Invicta is the way to go, because they will hook you up as far as bracelet sizes, because I'm sure for those of you with the larger wrists, it's difficult to find a large watch that fits you comfortably. But that, I don't know if that's a bad thing or if it's a good thing. This is the very first time I've had to remove more than 2 links. As far as other things about the watch, you've got the crown here. It is not a screw down crown, which is, in my perfect world, every crown would be a screw down crown, but, whatever. So basically, whenever it's fully pushed in, then you can just hand wind it like that and pull it out. The one click to adjust the minute and hour hand. So I guess now let's just talk about my personal thoughts. The biggest thing that hit me when this watch arrived in my mailbox was the overall size. And I did read what the dimensions were, but it didn't really register in my head exactly how large a 50+ millimeter watch was going to look like on my wrist. So let's go ahead and do that wrist shot again. So there we go. And I mean, that's just massive. It's 16 millimeters thickness. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think a lot of people hate on Invicta because of their sheer size. But for some people, that is what they're into. And for me, I'm kind of into it. There's definitely some watches in their catalog that I would never wear. And it's not because I hate them. It's just because for me personally, I just wouldn't want that hunk of steel on my wrist. This is the borderline. I don't think I would wear a watch much larger than this. This is really where I draw the line. But that being said, it's still a very fun watch. Initially, I thought it looked foolish, but also I hadn't fully adjusted the bracelet to fit my wrist perfectly. So once I really tightened it down and used the micro adjustments, then it looked right, because it wasn't like dangling at the very end of my wrist to where it looks like I'm wearing some cheap hand-me-down from an older cousin somewhere. It really felt like it fit my wrist, and then that's when it started to grow on me. And at the end of the day, it's just a fun watch. Nothing about it has felt cheap. Nothing about it has performed poorly. So far, the time has been extremely accurate. And the fact that it's very simple, I only have to worry about adjusting the hour and minute hand, I actually very much like that. I do like my other watches with several different complications on it, but it's nice to have one that is on my wrist just because it's fun and not for any reason else. and really you can't complain about that. You've got a affordable, budget-friendly watch that looks good to most people. And, you know, if you hate them, you hate them. But if you love them, then go ahead and buy it. I definitely recommend this to you. That's why I got it. For some reason, I went to the Invicta website and I looked at their new watches, and this was on there, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And for me, I no longer buy watches that don't call to me. If I really have to debate whether or not I want a watch, then I just don't even think about it. So when it calls to me like this one did, I just said, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And I don't regret it. It's very fun. I actually have another Akula on the way, but in a different case. So actually, I'll probably put out another review on that new one sometime next week. So really, if I had to pick a con or a negative about this watch, it would just be two things. One of them, we already discussed, the lume. You know, if you're going to name it something like Trite Night, then it should be something special. But after this watch, if I ever see the name Trite Night, I'm just going to assume that that means absolutely nothing. And then the other issue that I have is the name Akula. So Akula is a Russian submarine, and if you look at the case back, if you didn't see it before, you can see right there that it's a submarine surfaced on the water. This watch just doesn't scream Russian submarine to me. And I mean, I'm heavily invested in submarines because if you didn't know this, I am a submariner. So I've worked with submarines. I've served on board submarines for almost 10 years in the Navy. So I know a thing or two about submarines, and this watch just doesn't scream Russian submarine to me. The other Akula in the Invicta catalog, that looks more of a submariner's watch. This one, I don't know. I mean, I like it. I love how it looks, but it just doesn't look like something that would bear the name Akula. And, you know, feel free to disagree with me, but I think they could have definitely put this in a different collection of Invicta watches, and not the Akula. I mean, it doesn't even have a screw-down crown, so is that a negative too? I mean, not really. In my perfect world, all my crowns would be screw-down crowns, but you know, it is what it is. So that's really it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't think there are many reviews, if any, on this specific Akula, so I might actually be the first one. So I hope that this helps you if you were very interested in getting one for yourself. And you know, I hope that my videos always help you with your next watch purchase. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in for my next episode. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.